Soma's story is shockingly rare, because it's a first-person horror game where the story is more bone-chilling than the gameplay. The story isn't scary in the way the gameplay is, but it's somber, pensive, and mournful. I found myself not caring about surviving against the shambling amalgamations of what were once whole, ordinary people. Instead, I was overcome with sorrow. I felt sorry for the corrupted humans who had endured the suffering of their existence for years before I even set foot on Pathos 2. I felt sorry for the WoW, the artificial intelligence that created them, simply doing what it was programmed to do, unable to understand the torture it's inflicting on those who sought to benefit from its creation. I felt sorry for Catherine Chun, constantly fading in and out of consciousness every time the Omni tool is unplugged, not knowing where or when she'll wake up, so detached from reality that she takes being sealed in her own sunken tomb with no hint of regret. The person I felt the most sorrowful for was Simon. To be flung into a horrific, alien world with such suddenness, to come to realize you're one of the last sentient things to exist, to slowly come to understand that hell isn't burnt or frozen over, but sunken, to be reduced to a mind encased within a shell and robbed of all your sense, being stuffed into a dilapidated corpse of a stranger that existed a century after your death. Simon Jarrett's is a tale of dread, existentialism, and melancholic horror. The great thing about Simon is how he's a reliable narrator. He only knows what we, the player, know, which is nothing. Simon allows us to explore Pathos 2 alongside him, as we have no idea what this place is, allowing the story to unfold naturally from his perspective. As I started up the game, the prologue made it clear that Simon had lost someone and simultaneously received brain damage as a result of that same accident. So when I woke up at the bottom of the dark, tumultuous sea, in a rusted, mangled facility, I thought the game would be a metaphor for finding a way back to the surface, with the sea being a representation of Simon's brain. Oh, how wrong I was. Soma is a commentary on the human psyche, so in a way I was right, but we're not overcoming anything in this story. Soma asks what a human is, which gave me a new philosophical question to ponder. When I thought about the integration of synthetics or artificials into society, I told myself that they aren't alive because they don't fulfill the 7 requirements of being alive, Mrs. Gren. But now, Soma is making me ask myself a new query. Just because something isn't alive, does that mean it's not human? I'd only ever looked at the robots as artificial intelligence, but there's nothing artificial about the mind of Simon Jarrett. If Simon doesn't have a body, does that mean he's less human than you or I? Would he be treated differently if or when he exists in our world? God, this is sensational horror. I'm not scared of what's hiding under my bed. I'm not scared of what happens after death. I'm genuinely terrified about the near future of society and the eventuality of artificial intelligence and the cybernetic immortality of humans. And I've played so many games with robots, but never one so disturbingly real that makes me think about the real-world implications of what it's rationalizing. I'm confused as to what it is that makes me a human being. Soma is a story that stuck in my mind long after finishing it, which is so rare for a horror video game to do. Horror is a genre where you and the game don't question your methods, but Soma asks if what you're doing is right. I sort of wish it didn't directly ask them straight to the player. I would have liked to have come up with them on my own, but I appreciate not wanting to leave anyone behind. The choices the game did ask me to make, like erasing my former self and extinguishing the last human being on Earth, I felt were sadly made for me, as the characters surrounding those decisions directly told me what they wanted me to do. There was no reason for me to let them continue suffering, so I wish there was a bit of ambiguity in making these decisions, instead of testing to see if the player is a psychopath. What's interesting about both of these choices is that laying the old world to rest is the theme of these decisions. You play a direct part in the final burial of Earth. personally closing the chapter on this 10,000 year journey. I think the worst part of Soma for me was the voice actor for Simon. Simon's actor does not emote very well. He doesn't seem to be panicked or stressed about his situation. Instead, he speaks like he's in a trance. Maybe Simon is deep in thought about all the quandaries I've raised so far, but that's for me, the player, to do, not the main character. Shouldn't he be terrified of this new world he's been submerged into? Instead, he addresses his problems in a lax nature. He feels like a total blank slate. I guess it's good to have an everyman in this scenario, but couldn't he have a little more personality instead of just sounding bored? Before we wrap up, I want to talk about the ending. Yet another existential horror to add to the growing list that Soma presents to you. When you realize that Simon's not going up on the Ark, it's such an ingenious callback to the moment when you sacrificed your old self. I was aware of how the world worked before I launched the Ark. In fact, it was a pivotal moment when it was explained to me, but I wasn't able to put two and two together. My gut sank lower than the setting when I realized what a fool I'd been. But as disappointed as I was in myself for not foreseeing such an obvious twist, I wasn't anywhere near as angry as Simon. I can't even imagine how he must have felt, to go through all that, to wade through the depths of Earth and humanity, to sacrifice your body, to have to kill your former self, all to get left behind. Simon begins to scorn Catherine and his other self, living it up on the Ark, and he's left buried alive at the bottom of a dead planet. This moment also reveals that Catherine was lying to us for the whole game, or at least hoping we wouldn't notice what she's saying. She can call Simon an idiot all she likes, but she damn well knew this would be his reaction to getting left behind. It makes me look back at everything she said, being very careful not to slip up and let out a piece of information that could jeopardize her mission. She displays an immense amount of cruelty, not warning him. She knows Simon is oblivious to what it is he's actually doing. She treats him like a dog, dangling a ball in front of his face, and then throwing it in a place he can't reach. It's downright inhuman. I think I'm ready to answer Soma's question now. What it is that makes me human. Human isn't a species, it's a behavior. To be human is to treat another person with kindness and respect. Being human is being able to look over someone's differences. Being human is the ability to feel emotion. Not just any emotion. You can be hateful and not be human. To be human is to feel empathy, to feel compassion, to be able to help someone. To be human is to reach out to someone and help if they're lost. Being human is not something you're born with, it's something you feel.